Hey everyone, we have participated in Code Gladiators UiPath Hackathon 2020 and we have built a solution of custom rules which are being configured in the Work Analyzer, which is a recent feature given by the UiPath in UiPath Studio. So our name of our team is Hijackers. So we'll give you a brief about what rules we have configured till now. And as you can see, the first rule which on the screen displays that active message boxes should not be present in the workflow. So I'll start with why this rule is required. So the basic idea behind is, as a developer, as being a UiPath developer, we like to debug our code using message boxes. So whenever we are not able to find some values, some variable values, we use message boxes. But at the time of deployment, a developer sometimes may also forget to delete message boxes which are placed in between somewhere in the deeper nested ifs or else's. So this rule will help us to locate that message boxes. So I'll give you a brief how it has been configured in UiPath Studio. Yeah, so you can see this is a UiPath Studio. So I'll show you the all the workflow analyzer rules which have been implemented by us. Yeah, so we can see that these all the check rules are implemented by us. So there are 5 rules. So we'll start with the message boxes. Okay, so I'll start the active message box. You can see the scope is workflow and the type is warning. So it depends on the user. It can change to either info or verbose. So we'll start with warning only. Okay, so I made a workflow in which I have a message box. So how this will work is, it will look for in this workflow whether the message box is present or not. And if it is present, then it will give us some recommendation message. So we'll start with analyze file. So the file is being analyzed. Yeah, so in the error list what we can see is the message box is found in workflow under test. So this is a flowchart in display name as message box. So it gives the name of the workflow and the display name of the activity as well. And when what will see the recommendation? Yeah, so the recommendation is message box should not be present during deployment. Okay, so this is first rule regarding the message boxes. Let's say if I delete this and I'll start the sequence, save the code, and again analyze the file. Yeah, so our project is ready to be deployed. So starting with the work second rule that we have configured is the BCC should remain empty while sending emails. So again I'll start with the requirement of this rule. So accordingly, BCC is one of the key features that we use when we send the emails. But when it comes to automation part of sending an email, so it should be made sure that there should be recipients present. If there are recipients present in BCC, then they should be validated by someone. So for an example, the main case which we hear is, if a third party developer comes into an organization and deploys a code, he or she may give his or her email ID in BCC, and which we will not be able to track, and he or she, the developer will get an email, which is definitely not a good approach. So what we have done is, if in any of the mail activities, so I've used all the mail activities, if BCC is present, then it will throw an error. So I'll just given a sample string, let's say abcd@example.com. So again, to show you how it works, again we'll go to the workflow analyzer settings. We'll start this. We'll check the BCC email. So this is the one. So we'll press OK and we'll analyze the file. Yeah. So yes, we can see that all the activities over here has the BCC someone. So and it gives the name of the activity and the email address as well. And the recommendation is, please check BCC to check. So it helps us to find out which activities having BCC, and it should be validated before the code is being deployed, because there is always a risk that the information may get leaked and the owner of the bot will not be able to track that. Okay, so moving on to the third rule which we have configured is the exception handler workflow should be present. So most of the developers are not aware about what is the exception handler workflow. So an exception handler workflow, a brief about it, which helps us to track any exceptions which happens in our project. So as a developer, it is a very good practice that there should be a global handler which will help us to track the exceptions and solve them and handle them accordingly. So over here we can see that yes, the global handler is there, and this replace sign will help us to know that it's yes, the global handler is there. So let's say if I remove the global handler over here, so I'll go to the again analyze file, how we have to validate rule. Again we'll go to the end part. Yeah, so there's a global, so this is the rule that we have configured. So I'll just press it. Now I'm good to analyze my project. So analyze project, because this is something which is valid to the project. Yeah, so yes, so there's an error, there's a warning that global exception handler is not available. So yes, we can see that the global exception handler is not available, hence this error, this warning will come. Let's say if I assign the global handler again, set as global handler. Let's analyze the project again, and we'll see that yeah, the warning is no more. Yes, because we have assigned the global exception handler, and it is a good practice, and it is one of the key features of UiPath which we should use. And right now we always recommend this feature because it helps us to overcome the traditional try catch activities, redundant try catch activities. So moving on to the fourth rule, we have the project entry point workflow should be a flowchart. So again, the requirement, what was the requirement of the rule? What was the idea behind this? Whenever we deploy whenever we deploy automation projects, there can be chances then that then we have to invoke suitable number of workflows. So what we have to do is we have to check whether the our code is reliable, and if we pass our code to the other developer, he or she should be able to read it properly. So the one good practice is that our main workflow, the first workflow in which our project enters should be a flowchart, because it is quite easy to read. So yes, we can see that it is a main workflow. And to check that rule, we'll again move to the workflow analyzer and check for that rule. Yeah, so yeah, flowchart top layer. So we'll start the rule, and let's say, so my flowchart is the main one. So I believe I will not get the error. So just doing some reverse engineering. Yeah. So there's a BCC email that we have seen. Again error. So let's say if I change my main to the some sequence. So this is some test sequence which I showed. I set it as main. So if I again analyze the project, I will get an error showing that my flowchart top layer is not configured. Yeah. Flowchart top layer main workflow should be a flowchart. It is in warning again. Again, it can be configured to an error depending on the user. So main entry workflow chart should be a flowchart. So this is one of the best good design practices that the developer should keep in mind. So moving on to the last and the final rule for the evening. So we have Boolean naming rule should be followed. So again, why this rule? Again, in while developing, while doing UI automation, we use certain activities called as element exist, image exist. Image exist is not recommended, but still we have to use it sometimes. So our Boolean expression should show some verb convention. So it should be a good practice that we should have something to check whether the boolean expressions should follow some verb conventions, so that it is easier for developer to deploy his or code and debug as well. So we'll go again there and we'll enable this rule. So yes, the boolean variable verbs. So yeah, so there's a brief description of whether should imply true or use verb prefixes as exists. So I'll show you the number of variables over here. So we have element exists is variable 3, and both are of the type of variable boolean. So let's say I have a boolean expression with name as variable 3 only. Okay, so save the code. Let's analyze file, and we hope we'll get an error. So this is again the BCC. Yeah, so the variable 3 does not follow the required naming convention, hence it should be named. So the thing about over here is we should always have a variable boolean expression with some verb in it. Like if I want to change it, I can change it like this: is underscore variable 3. So let's see if my error still comes or it's gone now. So the for analyze. So yes, it's gone. So there's an always a good convention to follow, some naming convention. It will help us in the future while when we will come back to the code after 1 month or 2 months. So this was about the 5 rules that we have configured. And another thing that I would like to show is a smaller document, just a brief about how the how activities are being deployed and we can how the recommendation is their requirement of rules. So there's a brief document here which can help us to track what we have developed. Okay, so a big thank you, and we'll looking for more analyzer rules to configure. Thank you.